So my name is Sebastian. I'm a team member at KENGTAD, also the founder and CEO. You've met my colleague, Natalina Beno. David is in the audience somewhere, and Flora. So first of all, I want to thank you. I know it's a Monday morning. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here with me, or us. So asanteni sana. Just to give a brief background of what this event is about. And I'm going to do that through a short story. I like telling stories. I'm a YouTuber also. That's how I met Twahir, who's the CEO of MPost. So I grew up in Western Kenya, in a village called Buhwamba. And the thing that used to happen is when parents used to decide which school you're going to, proximity to your home was very important because you could run back home. And as a Luya young man, the way I used to know this food is when I could see smoke from the kitchen. And as you're running back to your home, you could see smoke from different kitchens because they are attached. And it's much later on when you grow up and you realize that those were carbon emissions. And yes, the food was sumptuous, mostly ugali and chicken, or mrenda, depending na mzazi ameamua aje. But as you grow out older, you start learning that even the things you love have an impact. They have a footprint that they leave behind. And as you grow older, and we've seen even younger people who decide to say, you know what, I've left my mark, but I'm going to play a small part in changing that. So you create such platforms. So this platform is one where we have a conversation about what is our impact in terms of carbon footprint, what can we do to reduce it, and just to give a brief context, when I was sort of reaching out to partners for this event, I had a very interesting conversation with one of the CEOs of the companies I reached out to. They were like, so what is this sustainability thing? And it dawned on me that it's not just young people who don't know what sustainability is all about. And for most people also, when you say sustainability, the thing that comes to mind is trees, which is a good thing. It's a good it's a good space to start in because someone who plants trees with the intention of reducing carbon emissions is doing much more. So we can't, quote unquote, hate on them, but we need to create a platform where they learn that there's much more that can be done. So sustainability comes with environmental, which is now, if you are a company that uses plastic, you make sure that those plastic are recycled. It's in the governance. So if you're a corporate company or just a business, how do you make sure that you're putting in place systems and structures that make sure that your people are taken care of? And for me, that is one of the most important things, because when people are taken care of, they take care of where they are. And in most cases, it's the offices, it's the roads they use, it's the people they work with. And then there's the social aspect. So you are company X operating in community Y. How do you help the people that are in that community? Because if they are better, then you have better clients who are willing to pay. And they don't walk around in the streets saying your company is harming them. So I just want to say thank you to our partners, Bolt, for coming through and saying, you know what, there are people who might not be able to buy the tickets. We're going to supplement that. And also, I like what Bolt is doing, especially with the EV scooters that they've introduced. So we know, wanatumia stima, hakuna carbon emissions mingi, na tujaiona mtu wa Bolt akiharas mtu kwa barabara. Makofi. The other person I want to thank is Mohamed Twahir. I met him, like I said, in the midst of the COVID period. And as a YouTuber, I had a lot of people asking me, how do you get YouTube to pay you? Like, how do I get this AdSense thing? And believe me or not, with the tech savviness that I believe I have, I didn't even know MPost existed, which is basically a way for you to use your mobile phones. Anyone has a mobile phone here? Anyone? It even sounds like an obnoxious question to ask, right? So growing up, we had one PO box. And this one PO box served my dad, his brothers and sisters, and their kids, and their kids' kids, and their kids' kids. So even when I'm in Nairobi, I used to use my PO box in Mushava, and they would send something there, and then it would be sent to me. And then we all have that one brother that, things work out for them and they're able to open their own PO box. And then I had that brother, he did that. And I kept using his PO box even on my company documents. Until one day I called him and I was like, I've been using your PO box for my Google AdSense. Mbona munitumii barua? He's like, I closed that thing, kitambo sana. I use MPost. So that's how I learned about Twahir. I posted it on LinkedIn. He was like, let's do something. Let's help more people know about this. So through that platform, we've reached more content creators who already know about the platform. And the beauty of it is now they have last mile. Last mile is you don't need to move. And he's going to tell us how now they've launched a super app that now embodies all these things that sort of supports the ecosystem of e-commerce and postal addressing, and how, the part they're playing in making sure that they're also leaving a mark in the sustainability space. So I know I'm boring you guys, or not yet. So I'm going to invite Mika, Kenneth, the regional director of Bolt, and Mr. Mohamed Twahir for the first bit of conversation. But before they both come on stage, I would like to invite each of them individually to just give us a brief background and then join us on the set. Karibu, Mika.
Good morning. My name is Twahir Mohamed. I'm the founder and CEO of beautiful innovation, patented, right here home. It's called MPost. MPost is where we turn, as Sebastian said, we turn your mobile number into an official postal address. Many of you might not know that only 10% of us, actually 1% of us are addressed and can say, this is my address, physically and also with a PO box. So we found, because of that problem, we found that many people are missing out in financial services. If they go to the bank, they are requested for proof of address. And mostly, let's say if you want to take a loan, they'll ask you for maybe your utility bills, which normally has the address of your landlord or maybe someone else. So we saw that by turning your mobile phone number into an official postal address and making it recognized by the government and the Universal Postal Union, then we are able to open up, number one, financial inclusion. Not only financial inclusion, but also e-commerce. So most of our clients are using the MPost address to do importing of stuff from e-commerce websites. So it's easy to register if you dial *631# from your Safaricom number. It's a 30-second process, and only for 300 shillings, you have your address throughout the year. It expires the same time you register. So if you register today, you pay 300 bob the same time next year. We work with the postal office, and we are looking to scale out to Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania in the coming years. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning once again. Really great pleasure to be here. Just like Sebastian already introduced, I'm Kenneth Micah from Bolt. I mean, you all know Bolt, right? The leading e-mobility and tech startup really in Africa and Europe. We're connecting over 100 million riders on the platform every month. And we began in 2013. Well, I mean, I wasn't in the company back then, but thing is, since that time, it's 8 years, and the vision and the mission remains the same. To reduce the usage of personal cars and to make cities move in more sustainable ways, in more safe ways, and in more affordable ways. And the whole objective really is to reduce the significant reliance on personal cars, because we understand that infrastructure such as roads, parking spaces, all those compete with green spaces. And they're not very good for our environment. Neither can we keep expanding with the growth of the population. Like, for instance, we built Thika Road about 10 years ago, but now it's already getting clogged up already, right? So our objective still remains to give cities very, very affordable ways of moving around. And really, all those use cases where you would have to use your personal car, either to get food from the grocery store, to get food from your restaurant. I mean, you have a delivery option for that. So you're like, okay, I really don't have to use my car for that. To go to work and hassle with the parking, first you have to pay Kanjo, then you have to pay the guy who's going to be watching after your side mirrors. On all those other hassle, you really don't want to do that, right? So it's just easy and super affordable. We were doing some economic model about the cost of owning a car in Nairobi versus the cost of using Bolt every day. And can you imagine it's like 50% lower using Bolt every day, for instance, than using a personal car, the cost of insurance, the depreciation, what else? Fuel, of course. But this is one of the things that really we are happy to be plugging in as part of making our cities more sustainable. But I'm sure we have like way more conversations around this, and I'm really, really looking forward for your questions and how we can just like engage, because we're not in this space alone. We're just one of the players here. But like I was saying, when I was hearing everyone introducing themselves, it's a whole 360-degree ecosystem that we can create when we collaborate, because the environment is all we have, right? And it's a joint responsibility. So looking forward for the panel discussion and the Q&A afterwards. Thanks, Ed.
Makofi tafadhali. So for anyone who has questions, so that we also don't spend a lot of time collecting later after the conversation, you can just pass them to Nati so that we can just ask the panelists. Mika and Twahiri, karibuni sana.